I realize this has been several years in the offing, but at the end of last week, the EPA has finally jumped on the bandwagon with regards to carbon dioxide emissions and its effect on greenhouse gases and global warming. It's been several years in the process because of some of the court cases and legal proceedings. But we're now in a position to actually try to govern how much CO2 the individual or industry or countries produce. But as I've been researching this up, trying to figure out exactly how much we're dealing with, I've come to find out that about 95% of carbon dioxide emissions are naturally occurring. That would mean that the bulk of the carbon dioxide would still be produced even without people. Now, I'm not saying that the CO2 levels are not rising. There's been measurements and it is rising. Which then brings me to the next question. In times of prehistory, there's been conjecture that the CO2 levels have been higher than even than they are now. But yet the Earth still recovered. We didn't have the runaway global warming. It did fix itself. When herein lies the problem, the amount of time it takes to fix it. This country has no patience. It's basically the instant gratification society, and we want results now. When in actuality, nature takes a whole lot longer to fix. Consider, they've been saying this started with the Industrial Revolution. That's the past 250 years. But yet we want to fix a problem that's been around for 250 years in 5 to 10, or maybe within one generation? That doesn't seem reasonable. And even solutions pose some problems. Can we as the individual or as industry afford to actually implement a lot of things that they're speculating on? Some of these almost to the point of being draconian. Can we afford the gas prices to go back up as they did, or fuel prices in general? Can industry afford to operate? Granted, we put scrubbers on our smokestacks back in the 70s with the Clean Air Act. All that they've done, or they're planning on doing in this country, is extending the Clean Air Act to include carbon dioxide. But can industry afford to do that? How many jobs will be lost because factories have to close? How much is our fuel prices going to go up? Because, let's face it, whether you're burning gasoline, natural gas, wood, whatever like that, you're going to produce carbon dioxide. Or we're going to get to the point where we can no longer burn anything. And even on the international front, remember, we're only 300 million of a total population of 6 billion. Is the rest of the world going to go along with all this? Realize, we're only a portion of that. A whole lot more people out there, outside the U.S., than there are in the United States. And our Kyoto Protocol, as my understanding of it, allows for the notion of carbon credits. Basically cost shifting. Having one country that produces extra carbon offset it by bribing someone else to do less. The reason they designed that is because the developing world, whether it be China or India or portions of South America, where they need the industry in order to keep their economies growing and thriving, are naturally going to produce more carbon dioxide. It would seem as though the whole Kyoto Protocol is predicated on the notion of, the United States and Western Europe, you've already got your prize, now pay up to the rest of us. We actually make excuses for other people to create huge amounts of carbon dioxide, but yet blame us for having done it. It doesn't seem exactly fair. I find it to be counterproductive. But, politicians and alarmists and environmentalists, let's not let the truth and the consequences get in the way of a good story and a good cause.